And here we go. Now it's time for us to actually dig in and start writing code to tell the Arduino what to do. Now the first thing that's going to happen when you open the software is it's going to give you this window with some code already in it. I recommend, what I like to do, at least as from a beginner's perspective, is just delete all of it. Truly start from a blank, empty sketch, just so you can understand what all the pieces are. Please note, by the way, that little number 1 on the left, if I hit new line a bunch of times, I just hit return, those are the line numbers. That was the thing that we selected with the checkbox. So here's the goal. I want to start by saying what we want the code to do. You may recall that the Arduino has an LED attached to pin 13. It's like internally wired to pin 13 on the board. That light we can control because we can tell pin 13 send electricity out, or we can tell the Arduino rather, send electricity out of pin 13 or don't send electricity out of pin 13. Those are kind of obvious, the two obvious things we can do with a digital output is send the electricity out or don't send the electricity out. So what I want us to do, our actual goal here, is make the light attached to pin 13 blink. Now I wrote that little line there and some of the words turned colors. Why did that happen? Well, the IDE, part of the value of the IDE, Integrated Development Environment, that's the software we're using, part of the value of it is that it will highlight certain things that it recognizes in colors that are designed to be friendly to us, the programmer, to just help us understand what's going on. So if a word becomes highlighted, that means it's a sort of a keyword or a word that the software understands. If the word remains black, like make the light to pin 13, all those things that are black are not words known to the program already. It doesn't mean we couldn't use them, but we'd have to introduce them. So if we want to make the thing blink, can we just write this code, make the light attached to pin 13 blink? No. That is an English language instruction. The computer does not speak English, and the Arduino doesn't either. So we need to reform our instruction into something that is more understandable to this little device. What I want us to do is begin by writing pseudocode, which is kind of an outline of what we want our code to do, or a description to ourselves in a high-level format of what we want the code to do. And then later we can do the work of taking our ideas in pseudocode and turning them to actual executable code. So what I wanted to do is to make the light blink, and these are just really notes to myself, and by the way, very good form to start with notes to yourself when you're writing new software, just so you can map out the territory before you begin building all sorts of little structures with complexity. To make the light blink, turn the light on, and then turn the light off. That's pretty much how you make a light blink, and then step 3, repeat. i.e. go to step 1. So I'm just going to indent all those a little bit. I'm going to use command right bracket just to indent those things. And I'll try to remember to tell you anytime I use a keyboard shortcut so that you know what I'm typing. So that's closer to the sort of instruction we'll be able to send the Arduino device, but still this is English. This is not language that the device is going to understand. What language is it going to understand? We're actually going to be writing code in C++, but you can think of it as just writing code in C because we're not going to be using any of the fancy features that are unique to C++, at least not at this stage we're not. So we're going to be writing code in C. C is a very old programming language. It's from the 70s. It is extremely widespread. It's used all over the place for all sorts of applications, and it's used to write entire operating systems. It's to write other programs. So when we learn C, we're kind of learning a very foundational language. However, it being foundational or low level, it's also got lots of little fiddly rules that we must learn and follow. Otherwise, it just simply won't work. So those are all good. It's a good outline of what we're going to do. There are two parts to any Arduino sketch that we must include. If we don't include them, the computer will be confused and not understand how to read our instructions. First part we must include is the stuff, I already typed something without telling you what it was. The stuff that's going to run once and only once when the Arduino starts up. There's going to be some stuff in there. And then the stuff that's going to run over and over again as long as the Arduino has power. Those are the two sections. We're going to figure out what goes underneath each header, but I just want you to think thematically or in a bigger picture, why would you have these two sections? Well, I want to compare this, writing this code to, let's say you're giving somebody instructions on how to ride a bike from here to there. So you're going to tell me to ride the bike, like first get on the bike, like, okay, now I am on the bike. And the next thing you're going to tell me is start pedaling forward. So like, and I will pedal and I will start moving and glide for like 15 feet and then like fall over because you only told me to pedal once. So the actual kind of computer style thinking instructions for how to ride a bike are get on the bike. You have to do that only once. Pedal, 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 pedal. You just have to keep pedaling. If you don't keep pedaling, you're not going to stay upright. I guess if you're going downhill, that's a fair exception. But let's imagine you're riding on a level surface. So there's one instruction you have to do once, and then there's a repeated instruction. In the case of the bicycle, get on once, pedal repeatedly. In the case of the Arduino, it's not quite the same. We're going to, in here, need to tell the Arduino which pin has which job. Why is this important? Because if you recall from the board tour, all of those pins on the top row, pins 0 through 13, those are digital I/O. I/O meaning input/output, meaning all those pins can be input or output. We actually have to explicitly tell the Arduino whether a pin should be an input or an output. It will, by the way, default to assuming a pin is an input. That's maybe worth keeping in the back of your mind, but it's a much better practice to always explicitly say which you want it to be. So that will be the code that we write in there. The stuff that we're going to have to run over and over again, and by the way, that's very simple. That one line of code, or it may not be really one line of code, that one idea is really the only thing we'll need to include in the setup, in the stuff that we do only once. The stuff that's going to run over and over is turn on the LED or the light, and then turn off the light. That's pretty much it. We could say, go to step 1. We could include that instruction, but we'll see shortly that actually it's going to take care of that for you. So now, in the next video, we're actually going to turn our high-level instructions written in English and things that are very sensible and readable to you and me into C code, which is not so readable to you and me, or it's less so than this.